A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. and we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message.
All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakor Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, so as you see, all right, Nero has, attacked Iran. All right, and this is ultimately going to, of course, escalate into World War III. All right, you have a lot of other nations, China and Russia specifically, who have business interests over there in Iran. All right, they consider Iran allies. And, eventually, all right, those two nations that I mentioned in China and Russia, all right, and ultimately the whole globe, man, is going to, turn on this dude because of acts like this. All right, if you go and look at the world reaction to, Nero bombing Iran, you have a lot of people that are calling for peace. All right, some type of diplomacy between these two nations, which not going to happen. All right, because this man is a bloodthirsty. He's been on what you would call like a perpetual warpath. That's his blessing, the sword, man. Going back to the blessing of Esau in Genesis. All right. So this is gonna do nothing but escalate. Once again, although you see a lot of these nations saying, they're gonna try to, be the mediator in between Nero and Iran over there. All right, it's not gonna do anything. All right, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is putting a spirit on Nero, all right, and these nations to go to war. All right. So this is gonna do nothing but escalate, as I said. Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, we in the midst of the third world's war right now. All right. If you want to say it was a cold war or a proxy war prior to, all right, but all these nations is gonna get active, man. All those nuclear weapons that you see they have and that they've been parading around, all right, eventually they're going to use these weapons. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua put the spirit on these nations to create these weapons. He gave them the intelligence and the technology, excuse me, to create these weapons so they can ultimately use them to destroy themselves. All right, this dude Nero, he's not gonna stop, man. And if you watch the clip, I believe the full video of him addressing the nation is about 10 minutes. I cut it short. He's coming with the same, Esau's been running the same plays, since forever, man. So how he attacks the minds of the people with his media, we're protecting Americans. We're, like you say, ensuring the security of Americans. We're taking nuclear weapons away from Iran, because they're this supposed threat to the world with them. When in all actuality, Esau is the threat. If anybody shouldn't have their hands on no weapons, it should be the Edomites. All right, that's why when the kingdom is established on earth, all their weapons gonna get took from them and burnt, and ain't gonna be no more wars, man. All right, because this dude is not gonna be in power. All right, but once again, Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, because these nations are growing tired of the imperialistic mindset or actions of this place, man. All right, because everything has a secret agenda. If you listen close enough, they always tell you. All right. So when they was over there, I mean, you see Russia and Ukraine, how they business going on. America was pumping weapons into Ukraine. Why? You would think it's some act of kindness, but Lindsey Graham ended up saying uh, the reason that they was over there is the natural resources, not only to gain those natural resources, but to keep those natural resources away from Russia and China. All right. Venezuela, drugs, they pumping drugs over here and all this, whatever they were saying, fentanyl or whatever the hell it was. And then we all know they went over there and took the oil. All right. In the Middle East, it's rich in that oil, or what they call the Middle East. So I'm pretty sure, they trying to kick their ass to steal something from them, man. Along the lines of natural resources, prominently oil. All right. That's what this dude does. All right. But, as we continue on down the path to, World War III intensifying more and more, these nations is going to turn on this place. All right. And then, this just happened early this morning. So I'm pretty sure the leaders of these nations will speak more and more. And I guarantee most of the leaders of the nations are going to condemn this act, just like they condemned Trump going over there and getting Maduro. All right. This place may have, what do you want to say, a history of being seen as a mighty nation and all this shit. This place is about to lose this war horribly because the whole world is going to turn against this place. If you notice the spirit of the nations, they all, this man Nero has isolated Babylon from the world. That's why the scriptures say even his allies is going to turn on him, man. All right, I'm going to grab that. I'm trying not to make this too long. Obadiah 1 and, what is it, 7? Obadiah 1 and 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. All right, to be confederate with somebody, is to have an alliance or be in league with them. All right, so these nations who are in league with America, or even the ones that I've seen recently that said, they basically said it is what it is as far as Nero running up in Iran. All right, but they gonna turn on this place. All right, every missile that these nations on the eastern part of the world have, they're going to ultimately shoot it over here. Excuse me, for acts like this. Everybody's tired of Esau's imperialism, man. All right, but I ain't gonna hold you. I hope that video was edifying. Shalom.